Illinois Stories is brought to you by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting and by the support of viewers like you. Thank you.
Hello, welcome to Illinois Stories. I'm Mark McDonald at the Bright Star Equestrian Center near Petersburg, where more than 30 kids come here for a very specialized type of therapy. And if you thought that horses were only for pleasure and only for work, then you've got an eye-opener coming, because horses at this equestrian center do medical therapy as well. And Tricia Nichols, you and your co-founder, who we will meet later in the program, came up with this idea recently that you had the horses and you had the property, and we could actually make this a beneficial thing for kids who have special needs.
That's right.
How did it get started?
Well, I worked as a nurse for probably about 7-8 years, and my oldest son has Asperger's, which is high-functioning autism. And so I had known as a parent there aren't a lot of options for kids with autism, because sometimes it's hard to take them where there are loud noises. It's hard to take them where they may not know exactly what's going to happen next. And so I was friends with the owners here, and I called them and I said, hey, I think my son has a real passion for animals. I'd like to see if he likes horses. And they said, sure, absolutely. So we came out, and I honestly didn't notice anything spectacular between them. I knew he liked the horse, and he petted him and everything. And we got in the car on the way home, and he said, Mom, that horse, he gets me. And I said, really? I said, what do you mean? And he said, people don't always get me. Like, they don't get my thinking, but that horse gets me. And I said, really? That's amazing, Ellis. Thank you for sharing that with me. And so I called Dana Engel, the executive director, and I said, as a mother, it's priceless what just happened with my son. And what about the kids who have never felt a connection? And she said, I am so glad that you said that to me, because I kept saying this place is so beautiful and I want to share it. I just didn't know if that meant boarding or what that was going to mean. And I said, I think this is what it means. And she said, well, do you know what we're going to do? I said, well, we're going to figure it out. And here we are a year later.
We are figuring it out.
That's right.
We are, okay, we talked about your son. He's in the green shirt and the black hat over here, the black hat.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
It looks like he's getting ready to take a ride now.
That's right.
He's got a favorite horse, doesn't he?
Yes.
This is Ellis, by the way.
Ellis.
Ellis is coming to say hello. Ellis, we're going to talk to you later in the program, okay?
Okay.
I'd like you and Argo to go through your routine.
Okay,
all right?
So we just finished brushing.
Okay, good. And you're going to ride him now, right?
Okay.
Okay. I'm going to come over on this side so we can get a little better view. So Ellis is now, I assume, an experienced and a pretty good rider, huh?
He really does well, and he is so passionate about it. Although I will say, he personally, some of our kids really like the mounted riding. Ellis really likes the groundwork and the connection. He really, they did an exercise one time with his hands on the sides of the horse, and they called it dancing. And the way that they moved together, he really loved that, that interaction. So, but he has gotten very good at riding, and he probably tops me.
Now this is his horse. I mean, not his personal horse, but when he rides, Argo is the horse he rides, because Argo gets him, right?
Absolutely.
Does he get the feeling that any other horses get him?
He's never made a connection with another horse to me verbally, but we've been out here before when it wasn't lesson time, and he's been standing up against the gate with some friends' kids who are all neurotypical.
There he goes. He's up. He's up. Good, good, good.
And the horses will immediately come up to him. Horses just, they just have a sense. They just know.
Now, Cece, here's your therapist. Her back is to us. She just helped him up. She's moving the steps out.
Right.
She sort of guides the volunteers in the yays and nays of how to do this, right? You always have 3 volunteers on each horse.
That's right. Yep. We always have 2 sidewalkers. The position of the sidewalkers is to directly work with the child. And they pay special attention to have their hand on the surcingle. It's a special therapy saddle. But
and it's called what again?
The surcingle.
Okay.
But if you'll notice, when they place their hands, it never is touching the rider's core, because we want to improve that core strength. And then the horse handler, which is Dana in this instance, her sole responsibility is to take care of the horse.
And the volunteers on the side, they take care of the rider. So
That's right.
So you can't fall off because you're constantly being centered back by. Okay.
They watch their placement. Some of our kids will kind of slope a little bit, and we will stop and get back in the middle and work on their backs to be straight up.
Okay. And now Cece's giving him directions on where to put his hands, and I guess that's for his balance, so he can. He can, hands on his hips means that he doesn't lean forward or back, he's just sitting
And also,
straight
if
up.
you'll notice, his toes are pointed out and his back is straight up. So that is a pretty good riding position.
And you saw the first day, you saw an improvement in him, that he made a connection with the horse. What sort of progress has he made since then?
Oh, it's profound. I mean, his self-confidence, his ability to be in a large group. As you can imagine, with 11 horses out here and all the volunteers, it's noisy. And you know, it's impossible for us to keep it quiet.
And there's a lot of commotion, and a lot of times kids with Asperger's, that commotion is they don't get along with that real well, do they?
Correct.
It upsets them.
Well, the way I like to explain it is they're at a heightened sense of anxiety normally. And so when you add that, one time Ellis told me, he said, "You don't understand, I can't turn my ears off. Everything is the same volume all the time." So it would be hard to focus with everything going on.
Yeah. Okay, now he's focusing though. He's listening to Cece.
He really is.
He's very focused. And sometimes you'll see him when he's not riding, you'll see him have a difficulty in focusing. But when he's riding, that seems to work for him.
He does, and whenever he's unmounted and having an interaction with the horse, it's really amazing. It's the connection that he feels is something that you can, as a mother, you know he doesn't feel that a lot of times. You know, sometimes maybe with me or his dad, but with friends even, it's not. You know, it's not. There's not always that connection.
Well, it looks like it's done wonders for him, and I guess the point is to be able to share that with a whole group of kids that might come along. And you've got over 30 right now.
That's right.
And some on a waiting list. So
do.
that's, I mean, maybe you're a victim of your own success.
I know.
Maybe you can serve all these kids. That'd be terrific.
Oh, it is truly our dream to reach every kid who would have a benefit here.
Thank you, Trish.
Yeah, thank you.
Dana, you get a chance to witness this all the time, where kids who have a variety of health issues, maybe autism or Asperger's syndrome, get a chance to plow new territory when they get on a horse. It's something that they've never done before, and somehow there's a connection between these horses and these kids. How does it work, or what is that connection?
There's a lot of theories behind that. I think that the horse's presence, being so large, so kind, their eyes just draws the children in. There's also some theories about the left brain and the right brain. Horses are right-brained and have an emotional intelligence about them, and they pick up on these children. These children come pure-hearted. They have, they have their special needs, but usually their emotions, they don't have mixed emotion. And there's a connection between them. I call it magic. It is truly, we have seen in 2 short months of having spring sessions of the changes in the children. We have wonderful volunteers, but I really do think it's the horses and the ponies that bring it out. Some people say it's the movement. There's something about our lymph nodes and how the constant movement brings and does something to the bodies and the brain. However, when you see the combination of the interaction of the volunteers, you see the horses and the trust that is built between the horse and the rider. It is something comes up. There's laughter, there's talking, there's communication that parents are just amazed at.
Yeah, and they don't often get that at home or in school. They don't often get a chance to see that. So when it happens, it sort of reveals their child to them in a whole new way.
And it gives parents hope. It gives them such hope. We have instances where the children are not talking in the beginning, and 8 weeks. That was the span of our spring sessions. The laughter. I had one lady, this one mother, her horse was trotting. They were trotting together, and he was holding the reins, and he was just laughing and laughing as this horse was trotting down the length of the ring. And I looked over at the mother, and she had tears coming down her cheeks, and I'm like, "Are you okay? What's wrong?" And she said, "He doesn't even smile at home."
We don't get that.
Yes.
We don't see that.
Yes.
It's a kid we don't know.
Exactly. It just comes out. And I think it's just the natural setting.
Yeah.
There is quiet here. It's just, I think the surroundings, they know they're accepted here. So all that unconditional, all that. But the bottom line, I think, is the horses. I really do. Our horses are, they're very quiet-natured. Some are big, some are small, but I think it's the love. I have some horses that just want one that just kind of wraps his neck around these little ones. It's like, I want to hug you, you know?
Protect.
Yes.
Protect them, huh?
They do.
Yeah.
It comes out. So if it's all, I tell one person, if you have eyes to see and ears to hear, you will see the magic here. You know, don't come jaded. Don't come like a cowboy that, you know, I'm used to my spurs. If you come and just see these animals for who they are, just gentle, smart animals, you know, with a lot of emotion, a lot of emotional intelligence, I call it, you'll see it. You'll see it.
You and your husband Paul bought this property not too long ago. It was a rundown home,
Right.
and it was an appliance business.
Correct.
Those folks wanted to get out of that.
Correct.
You bought it. Did you know at the time you were going to make stables out of it?
No.
No.
It was really neat. We had started building this beautiful barn with the vision of an indoor ring. Why we have an upstairs viewing room. And I just remember riding quietly my horse, Argo, and thinking, this is just becoming too pretty to keep to myself. I really felt blessed, but did not know the direction it would go. And so it amazes me now, the direction. But no, I thought it was going to be a social barn. I really did. I thought maybe I'd have a horse lovers club up in the viewing room or something, you know, something, clinics, you know, something of that nature. No, I had no idea that it was going to go here. It was just by the good, you know, fortuitous, you know, call that you'll tell later that Tricia called us. You know, and that connection with Ellis, who has Asperger's, that just started down the trail. And then we knew, it's like you just know. When there's peace, you know. And there was peace. I knew this is what it was meant to be. So I have not looked back. We are so committed to this. I myself am getting certified to become an equine specialist in mental health and learning through PATH, which is the Professional Association of Therapeutic Horsemanship, as well as becoming certified in therapeutic riding like Cece. We are committed. With these children, they call us.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
It's terrific.
Feel very fortunate, very blessed. Thank you, Mark.
Cece, you've been in this business for a long time. You teach special ed at Springfield High School, right?
Right.
And you've been an equestrian therapist in the past.
Right.
And so you've seen just about everything there is to see. And since May, you've been here at Bright Star. How have you seen the kids develop out here?
I have seen one young lady come that they said she would not get on a horse, that she was too afraid, too frightened to get on. And yet we were able to get her on the very first day. Support, I'm tall, I guess say confident. And so, you know, she had started from being afraid to not talking, to clinging to mom, to now that she will talk to the horses, she talks to the volunteers, she smiles, we have trotted with her on the horse.
That shows some bravery, doesn't it?
That shows a lot of bravery, because they don't ride in a saddle. If you can notice the horses, they have what we call a surcingle, and so that they feel the muscles of the horses. So that does take a lot of bravery.
Right, and we can see that's going on right over here.
Right.
She's got her little legs wrapped around the side, so she knows what that horse what movements are going on inside that horse.
Right, and they are, every time the horse steps over something, every time the horse turns, the riders are feeling their muscles, and the way a horse walks and the way people walk, it's exactly the same. So that these younger riders are getting a lot of muscle exercise, and we're using their core muscles. So that's why our lessons are only about 30 minutes. They're tired. After about 20 minutes, you see the eyes start fogging over, and they sleep a lot on their way home. But each movement, everything that we do, there's reasons for it. You can see this rider riding backwards.
Now that doesn't look easy to me anyway.
Especially when the horse
is stepping over, stepping over these logs.
That young lady has lower weakness in her back, and so it's a different set of muscles. while she is riding backwards. Her riding forward, her back muscles get very tired quickly. So she has a little bit of support with the handle from the surcingle, and it's just so that we can keep her without wearing her out. And so stretching, reaching, we are doing a lot of across the body.
And well, think of the balance that takes now, you know, to be able to find that the ring on
you can watch her tongue being set. I mean, she's really concentrating, and it's fun. Friends of mine that are therapists will say, we can get so much more out of the riders on the back of a horse because it's not work then, it's fun. And so they come, and we always try and come up with new little games. We have stars they love that they have to find. We use a lot of academics. Tell us what color the cones are. How do you spell some? Count to keep your arms up in the air for a certain amount of time. So we've had one young man that his mom brought his spelling words out to us, and we practiced his spelling words. And he went from like C's and D's to A's when the volunteers would work with him.
And there she is again. She's getting those rings on there.
And see if she's reaching from one and then holding and then stretching to the other side.
Yeah, it does take a lot of strength and balance to do that.
It really does.
Yeah, and she has, you say she has a weak lower back, so this is...
And Emma has been riding in my other program as well as this one for about, I want to say about 5 years. She just turned 8. So she went from hardly walking to now she has just short braces on her legs, and she's pretty ambulatory. She doesn't run real fast, but she's able to walk on her own. Just depends on what the ground is, if it's very hilly or bumpy. But she's talking more, and that's another thing that we do with the horses, that the riders all have to say walk and say their horses' names. At the end, before they get off, we all say thank you, and they have to say each rider's or volunteer's name, and they have to thank them and thank the horse before they get off.
So they really have to stay aware through this whole exercise. If they're on the horse for 30 minutes, they start off by brushing the horse and getting used to the horse, then they're on the horse, and then even after they get off the horse, they still have a certain amount of protocol to observe there. So they have to pay attention. That's good.
It's a bit of a routine. I believe just in manners, whether it's the horse. The horses are the best volunteers, and so we need to take care of them also.
They're terrific.
And so that we like to have, the riders, whether it's a person or a horse, that we can't do it without them.
Yeah. Thank you, Cece.
Thank you very much.
Cowboy Ed. I asked to talk to one of the volunteers here, and they all said Cowboy Ed.
Well, maybe I just stand out in the crowd because of the hat, and it might be because I'm one of the few guys that volunteer out here also.
Yeah, that's unusual, isn't it? I mean, is it because guys, you must be retired, I guess. You have some
no, not at all.
No, you're not. But you can have a flexible schedule where you can get here during the day when the kids are here?
Well, actually, we do it on the weekends. So I come out on the weekends because I work Monday through Friday. That's one thing I noticed was it's not many guys, and I'm not too sure about that.
Yeah, well, thanks for being here for us today.
Yeah, glad to be here.
What did you find appealing about helping kids this way?
Well, it combines two of my real loves, which is horses and little kids. And you put them together, and I'm all over it.
Yeah.
It kind of moved me out of my comfort zone the first time working with kids with challenges. It wasn't something I was used to, but once I'd done it, I just fell in love with the kids and the horses, and what you see happens when you put them together.
Yeah. Give me an example of what you see happens with some of these kids.
Well, I'll tell you with Emma. Emma's
the little girl that we saw earlier today, right? She had the helmet and wears braces.
Yes, and she has cerebral palsy, and so she has some problems with walking and speech. And in the therapy out here, a lot of that stretching you saw us doing really strengthens her core, and so I think her walking is improved. We have them say walk to get the horse going, and whoa. We do the counting and the colors with the rings. I don't know if you were able to hear us, but
we saw her placing the rings on the stick and having to reach for that.
Yeah, that was stretching those muscles, but we're also having her count, and we'll tell her a certain color we want on the ring.
Oh, okay.
So we're going over colors, and it's also getting her to verbalize. Now sometimes we'll sing a song. She needs a country song that's long and drawn out so she can hit those syllables, but she loves to sing along.
Okay, she likes the country music while she's on horseback, huh?
Find some cowboy songs, and we sing those.
That's terrific.
And I think some of the other kids, what I see is it just gives them a self-confidence, that I think carries over into the rest of their life.
Yeah. Well, thank you for what you do and for talking to us today.
Well, I'm glad to do it, Mark. Glad you came out to highlight it.
Thank you. Well, Bill Klein, we got a chance to see your daughter Emma on the horse earlier today, and as we were talking to Ed, he was describing some of the games they were playing and some of the exercises they were doing. How have you seen her develop since she started this horsemanship?
Wow, she walks a lot better. Her coordination's a lot better. She tends to have weakness in her midsection, and the horse riding has, well, you saw she was sitting up straight as she was riding. Yeah. So it's really helped with the core muscles.
Her balance is very good.
And she loves it. So it's not just one thing. It's global. I mean, she's doing really well.
She's in Rochester schools.
Yes, sir.
Right? And so she's they're able to take care of her, and she's making progress there.
They have therapists in Rochester schools that work with her. She's in there with special education, but yeah, she's in a main classroom. She has a lot of friends who just love her. So yeah.
Does she go to school and brag about riding horses?
She takes pictures. She takes pictures. One of her severe delays is expressive language. So, but she does take pictures and she does show the students.
Okay, so she brags in her own way.
Yes,
right?
She brags in her own way. She loves it.
Well, that's terrific.
For show and tell. And
yeah,
stuff.
and so I assume that you'll be able to continue her doing that out here, because it looks like they're going to start a new season, and you want Emma to be involved in the future.
Absolutely, we were just talking about that, and Emma will be signed up for the next season, and it's just a wonderful opportunity, and the people who work here are just great.
Yeah. Well, thank you, sir.
Well, thank you.
Well, Ellis, I heard earlier today that Argo, the reason you like to come here is because Argo, the horse we were just looking at, really gets you.
Yes.
How does he get you?
He just gets me.
He just gets you? He understands you. Is that what that means? And when you're on top of him, how do you two get along? How does that work?
We get along on the ground.
You get along on the ground?
Yes, and then whenever you get along on the ground, it kind of gets along with whenever you get on top, and it just kind of goes.
It just goes, and it works between you and Argo, right? I noticed when you first got here today, you spent some time brushing him, you know, feeling him, making sure that he was feeling good. It's important that he feels good too, huh?
You're right.
Yeah, so you would do this together.
Yep.
Yeah. What have you learned about horseback riding since you started riding Argo?
A lot, because first of all, I didn't know anything about horseback riding, and now over there I've been doing all that other jazz with going around and around and all that stuff.
I noticed you were throwing some of those plastic dice too, and you were doing some different exercises.
I've done with dice.
How'd you do?
I did good.
Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah, were you supposed to, were you supposed to hit a target or something with them? I couldn't figure out what the game was.
Well, first of all, I'm supposed to reach for the dice on some hard to reach areas, such as down here, up there, back here.
Gotcha.
And then I try and hit a target and whatever it lands on, and then she throws a dice, and then we do math.
Yeah. Math, too?
Math.
You gotta do all that and math?
And math.
Did you have to add?
Yes, add, subtract,
did you get them right?
And multiply.
And
divide.
Multiply? Goodness gracious.
I didn't have to do divide until I said, where's the division?
Well, you sound like a pretty smart kid to me. I didn't even know what division was when I was your age. How old are you?
I am 12.
12? Are you just turning 12, or are you just turned 12?
I just turned 12 in July 22nd.
Huh? Okay, well, good deal. Ellis, I want to thank you for all your help today.
Well, thank you.
You and your mom just do a terrific work out here, and I want to thank you for talking to us as well, okay?
Okay.
Okay. Now, you go back and you make up with Argo over there. I think you need to brush him a little bit, don't you?
Alrighty.
He's missing you. Okay, buddy. Thanks.
Alrighty, bye.
Well, as you can see, a happy customer here in Ellis. They're starting their third session here at Bright Star. That third session will start in September. You can go to their website and you can get the information on how to call. And if you're interested in getting your children signed up at Bright Star, that process is going on right now. With another Illinois story near Petersburg, I'm Mark McDonald. Thanks for watching.
Illinois Stories is brought to you by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting and by the support of viewers like you. Thank you. For a DVD copy of the program you've just seen, send $19.95 to Network Knowledge, P.O. Box 6248, Springfield, Illinois 62708. Be sure to include the program name, subject, and when the program aired. You can also order with your credit card by calling 800-232-3605.